Okay, welcome to the inaugural UJ Blockchain Demo Day. Blockchain and artificial intelligence are two of the cornerstones of the fourth industrial revolution, right? They are key transformative technologies, right? The key value proposition of blockchain is transparency, right? Chiefly is transparency. Then you have other key value propositions, including decentralization and immutability, often referred to as DTI. So decentralization, transparency, and immutability are the three key value propositions that blockchain presents, depending on the use case, right? In any sector or any system that suffers from a lack of transparency, that allows issues around corruption, issues around theft, issues around fraud. So blockchain can be a useful antidote to such occurrences. And AI, the key value proposition that AI brings is in the area of efficiency and speed, right? So I think you heard Maurice Crespi talking about AI in the legal domain, right? What hitherto would take 3 days, he can get it done in a minute, right? And it would be accurate. You would not need to send it back for further work, right? So that's efficiency, and it does so in a timely manner. So now, taking together blockchain and AI, right, has enormous potentials in the African context.
Okay. Hi, everyone. How are you doing this morning? Awesome. I must say, it's the first time in my history of speaking or being in the blockchain space that I'm seeing so many females in the room. I still can't get over this. So well done, UJ. So thank you so much, Prof, for welcoming me back this year, and to the team that organized today's event. Well done. Today I've been invited to talk to you about digital identity in Africa and blockchain's game-changing role. So let's talk about identity in Africa. You know, in 2018, when I started working in this space, the big number out there was 1 billion. There are 1 billion people in Africa that don't have an identity. And not having an identity is an issue for a few reasons, right? Because it means you don't have access to social grants and government provided services. You don't have access to financial aid or participating within the financial ecosystem. You don't have the ability to vote. So, you know, as a citizen, there's very little that you can do without having a legal identity. I mentioned the number 1 billion, but the number on the screen is 540 million. And this year, the stat is saying that there's 540 million Africans that don't have a legal identity. So this is not a digital identity, but just a legal identity. A few blockchain constructs. So as you all should know by now that, you know, blockchain came about with cryptocurrencies as one of its first use cases. We then had Ethereum bring about smart contracts, and you're seeing these other blockchains come up with their own smart contract languages as well. We then saw non-fungible tokens come about. Okay, so blockchain enabled digital identity, and we're going to start from the person on the top, the identity holder. The idea behind this is that there will be an identity holder, me, you, or anyone else, that may have a digital identity wallet or some kind of identity wallet. And believe it or not, because of Africa's infrastructure challenges, one of my colleagues in the ecosystem has been looking at other forms of enabling digital identity using paper-based identity or some form of QR code or the other. So they are still looking for different solutions to enable digital identity, even for people that do not have devices. So as a holder, I would have an identity wallet or something that gives me access to my data. And then I could request verified identity or proof of my bank account or proof of my education credentials from an institution, which is known as the issuer. And this institution will issue the certificate or verifiable credential, as we call it, into my wallet. And then if let's say this is a green barcoded ID from the government, and I go to a bank and they say, can you prove that you are Anushka? So I would come here, the bank would be seen as a verifier in this case. They'll ask me to share proof of my ID. They wouldn't have to make a call to Home Affairs to confirm that it's my ID, because in this technological way of doing things, the verifier will be able to check against the blockchain or some data source that the issuer of the credential was actually Home Affairs, and there's a cryptographically secure way in which they can do that and not have to make those calls back to the source databases anymore. So this is at a high level the construct for blockchain-based identity. I know this is a really busy slide, but I was really excited to share it with you because, at layer 1, we've seen the blockchains getting built and people saying, okay, the unique keys, the unique identities for us as holders or issuers or verifiers will get stored on that blockchain. Typically, the issuers' identities will be public, but us as holders, our identities don't have to be in the public domain. Okay? It's normally just issuers, because if the bank is saying, let me check if Home Affairs issued this, they want to make sure that they know publicly that this is Home Affairs identity. At a layer 2, people started building the tech for wallets. And when I started working in the blockchain, in the self-sovereign identity space, this was really hard to get your hands on technology like this. And there's a few providers of this technology at the moment. At a layer 3, we started seeing people saying, okay, how do we standardize the credentials that we will pass between each other? And there's different standards that have come about. But right now, where we are with that global acceptance network that I mentioned earlier, is we're looking at how do you get trusted ecosystems to connect and collaborate with and interact with other trusted ecosystems. So this is the governance layer and the technology layer that is being sorted out now. So I feel like by middle of next year, this full stack will be built and ready to use. And for me, this is like super exciting because I can't wait to reduce the admin in my life. I don't want to write my name, email address, and phone number down again on another form. So the next step we'll talk about is blockchain-enabled use cases. And, bringing this back to identity, I know you're going to demo later, and I can't wait to see what you demo later. But bringing this back to identity, these are only some use cases. There are many, many more use cases. If you look at the 540 million people in Africa that don't have identities, some of the first use cases that we're seeing on the continent are, government services or government issued ID, access to finance, and property rights. Those are like 3 big use cases that people talk about when they talk about introducing identity. Blockchain is good and we all want to use it, but I don't think it's going to work 100% on its own most effectively. I think blockchain technology combined with other 4IR technologies, and you can see the words of the other 4IR tech on the screen, will have to come together, and the combination of these technologies will give you more powerful solutions to problems. And I want to say, I really believe that the African continent has something special to offer the world, not just raw materials and resources, but even more than that, right? Our concept of Ubuntu is amazing. I think the way communities come together and do things, there's some kind of heart that lives on this continent that we need to take and share with the rest of the world. And yes, we can share it through technology, we can share it through our services, through our products, but there's a way for us to actually take the heart that we have and share with the world, because that's what's needed to make this a happy, thriving world. Because I'm all about fun. I say to my daughter, there's 2 rules in the world. What are the 2 rules? And she says, Mom, have fun and have more fun. So I said, exactly. Those are the 2 rules. As long as you're having fun and making a good, positive good thing. And on that note, that would be my last slide. I'm stuck again.
I'd